In this episode, we're tackling red enchilada sauce. I'm gonna show you this. It might give it away, but I've got the full breakdown for you in this episode. Is it worth it to make your own red enchilada sauce or to buy store-bought? This might be a spoiler alert right here. Anyways, we're gonna get down to it. I'm gonna do the ingredient breakdown, the cost breakdown, show you how to make red enchilada sauce, and then I'll share my opinion on whether or not it's worth it to make your own or to buy store-bought. All right, let's get to it. A look at the ingredients and cost comparison for a homemade red enchilada sauce. So the larger jar, that is 19 ounces, that is prepared, is $3.48. The tomato paste is $1.22 for this 12-ounce can. And we're gonna end up with a lot more than 19 ounces when we thin the paste out with this 2 cups of chicken stock. I'm using a bouillon base because that is the cheapest. I get it from Costco, so per ounce per cup, it is by far the cheapest way to do chicken stock or broth, using that bouillon base. And of course we have cumin, onion powder, salt, and pepper. So those costs are only, I would say, 1 cent to 5 cents each. And so overall, this is gonna easily be less than $2 for this tomato paste, bouillon base, and spices compared to the $3.48. And we're gonna get more out of that $2-ish than we would get from just one can. So now that we have the cost breakdown done, let's look at the ingredients. Obviously these are all pretty clean. And then for the ingredients here, we have tomato puree, water, modified cornstarch, salt, chili pepper, soybean oil, vinegar, spice, citric acid, hydrolyzed corn protein, onion powder, natural flavor from and color from black carrot and paprika. So that is the ingredient list. So this is definitely, I would say, on the cleaner side. So I would say making homemade is going to be on the cleaner side and the cheaper side. So, I mean, I know it's pretty easy to guess my opinion as we go through these things, but before we get to that, I want to show you how to make this homemade enchilada sauce that you can then use to make beef, chicken, cheese, shrimp, whatever your favorite enchiladas are for your meal. Homemade enchilada sauce, I would argue, is really easy to do. When you're making enchiladas, you would just start this first and then go about preparing whatever other ingredients, getting everything out. You know, if you're browning ground beef for beef, if you're cooking chicken for chicken, it's really easy to just do this first, let it simmer while you're getting all the other ingredients ready. So convenience-wise, you know, enchiladas, I would say, are a little more on the heavier prep side of things. So it's not gonna add too much more to just get this going really quickly while you're already getting everything else ready for your enchiladas. And of course, flavor and ingredient wise, you're gonna just have that super fresh, rich red enchilada sauce. So I use my mini spinella, my favorite, this cute little shorter guy, to scrape clean that tomato paste. And then I'm going to stir in my bouillon base. This is the Flisk. It flattens, which sometimes I do, depending on how, oh, that incorporated really well. Sometimes I twist this. If any bouillon base gets left in the bottom, you can twist this to a flat whisk, and then I'll use the flat whisk to get the bouillon base out of the bottom. Sometimes it sticks to the bottom, so there's that. So we got the heat going. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of ground cumin and 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of pepper. Once I've got all of that added in, I'm then just gonna use my same Flisk. I'm gonna turn it back into a balloon whisk, and I'm just going to very gently incorporate the tomato paste and the chicken stock until a sauce forms. And from here, we're just gonna bring it to bubbling, then reduce the heat and let it simmer while we get all of the other ingredients ready for our enchiladas. So this is going to be plenty of sauce to both mix in with your meat or cheese. So you could add a touch in with your cheese. So this is a lot more than this can's worth. So you can also thin it out if you want to add more stock or water. You can thin it out to the consistency that you like. I like to use a little bit for mixing in with the chicken, the beef, even the cheese. Mix it to go in the filling of the enchiladas, and then the rest is going to go on to the top. If you have extra, maybe you're not using all of the enchilada sauce for some reason, or you're making like a half pan, you can also store this in a glass jar in the fridge, or you can freeze it in small portions, ice cube trays or small containers. I'm going to show you. All right, we've started to bubble. You can see, so I'm going to go ahead and reduce the heat and let this simmer for a few minutes, and then we will go over the final comparison, and I will share with you my opinion on whether or not it is worth it to make homemade red enchilada sauce. The pot of red enchilada sauce is cooked, and I'm going to transfer it into this quart-sized jar, really for comparison of how much we made, and then I'll do a quick recap. I think because this is a wide mouth jar, I'm going to go ahead and use my flexi ladle to transfer it all in here, because the ladle will get smaller to the size of the jar. I don't have to risk it spilling everywhere if I try to pour it out of the pan, but you can see how easily it pours in here. I need to re-grasp this. So you can see I can like get to the corners of the pan because the ladle bends. So it's really easy to get to the corners. There's still a tiny bit left in here, but I think I can get it. I really just wanted to show you the comparison of how much this recipe made. I'm gonna venture to say this might be two meals worth. I mean, that is full. I should leave some cap space here. I didn't leave any. Okay, so here is the comparison. A meal and a half. Okay, I'm gonna let this cool down before I put the lid on, and I'm gonna switch camera views real quick so I can share with you my recap and my opinion. We're done. Store-bought red enchilada sauce. This jar is warm, I'm gonna use 2 hands. Homemade red enchilada sauce. A size comparison. Whoa, a meal and a half worth, a tray and a half, possibly 2 trays worth, depending on how generous you are with the red enchilada sauce when you're making your enchiladas. Is it worth it to make homemade red enchilada sauce? This is a resounding yes. Yes, because it's cheaper. Yes, because you get more for less. And yes, because the ingredients are much cleaner and healthier, and you can control the flavor better in the homemade version. And finally, it really is easy to make. All you have to do is add the ingredients to a saucepan, let it simmer while you're getting your other enchilada ingredients ready to go. So on all fronts, red enchilada sauce is worth making a homemade version. So I want you to tell me in the comments, have you ever made homemade red enchilada sauce? Are you gonna make it now? Do you think it is worth it because it covers all of the fronts of being worth making homemade? Let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, like this video if you learned something new. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any other episodes in this Is It Worth It series, or any of the other cooking and freezer cooking videos that we share here on the channel. All right, with that, it's bye for now, and I will see you in the next episode.